What's up, hockey friends? We're back with another prospect analysis video where I look at a team and their prospects, and today we're talking about the Detroit Red Wings and their incredible prospect pool, and also what they could do at this year's draft. So as we all know, the Red Wings team of today isn't very exciting. They have a few exciting players like Dylan Larkin, Filip Zadina and Jakub Vrana, but no one on the Red Wings lit up the league this season. Their best point producer was Filip Hronek, and he didn't even reach half a point per game. Dylan Larkin did hit half a point per game, but his season was cut short due to an injury. So yeah, it wasn't really a season to remember for the Wings, but if we're being real, I don't think anyone was expecting anything from them this season. They finished 5th last in the league, which means they have a pretty good draft pick in the summer, and we'll get to that later. But for now, we'll be talking about some of the prospects that are already in the Red Wings system, and man, are there ever some good ones. So like I said, there are some pretty good prospects in the Red Wings system, and two of the best ones are Raymond and Moritz Seider. Yeah, it's not really breaking news, but they are clearly the two best prospects. So let's start off by talking about Moritz Seider. So Moritz Seider was someone I talked about last year in my video about NHL ready prospects. And that video is over a year old, and if he was ready then, he's even more ready now, which is a scary thought because the season he just put up in the SHL is probably one for the ages. I think if you sum up his season in one word, it would be wow. For a 19-year-old to put up the season he did, absolutely incredible. If you're a Red Wings fan and you're interested in prospects, you've already probably read up on Moritz Seider, but the numbers, the physicality and just his general play was amazing, and it was so good that it brought him and his team to the SHL finals. Now, it should be said that the Rögle team he was on is a very, very good team, but Seider played a huge part in that team. And in the end, they did lose 4-1 in the finals, but Seider did put up a few points and played his usual really good game. During the regular season, he averaged 20 minutes per game, had 91 hits, which was second most in the league, and his physicality for his age is incredible. He doesn't care if you're a rookie, he doesn't care if you're a veteran or whatever. He's going to hit you, and he's going to hit you hard. With 28 points in 41 games as a defenseman, I can say that Seider is comfortably the best defensive prospect in the NHL, and absolutely one of the best, period. He's that good, and he should and he will play in the NHL next season. It's going to be fun, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be fun for a long time, because Seider is a top 2 franchise defenseman. That's his potential in my opinion. So for Red Wings fans, you have a lot to be excited about in Seider. And I could really make a whole video on just Moritz Seider and how good he is, so tell me in the comments below if that's something you'd like to see. Also, as I'm making this video, Moritz Seider was nominated and won Defenseman of the Year at the SHL Awards. A pretty good accolade. The other top tier prospect the Wings have on their hands is the Swedish winger Raymond, who just like Moritz Seider spent this season in the SHL. Raymond didn't have as good of a year as Seider did, but he did improve on his points stat from last year, and he put up 18 points, but Frölunda is a very low scoring team where the points are pretty evenly spread out over the entire team, so don't be put off by his relatively low point total. Unfortunately, his season was cut short with an elbow injury which made him miss 18 games. But I definitely saw improvements across the board with Raymond. He's stronger, faster, and he's more involved, and he was given a bigger role on his Frölunda team. And he brings everything you want in a winger, the playmaking, the stick handling, the skating, his shot, he's got it all. And now when he's put on even more weight, he's stronger, he's even better down low by the boards, and he can make these nice nifty plays. However, I'm still not convinced he'll make the jump to the NHL at the start of next season. The Wings did sign him, but I think this injury he suffered may have affected him a bit, and I wouldn't be totally against him getting another season in the SHL, because like I said, I don't really think he's ready yet. Maybe he'll get a season in the AHL to acclimatize to North American hockey, just like Moritz Seider did, but for me, he's not ready for a full NHL season. But if you're a Wings fan, I wouldn't get upset or scared or whatever. Make no mistake about it, Raymond has the potential to be an elite winger in the NHL, and he's got all the tools to reach that potential. So if Raymond and Seider are on top of the prospect pyramid for the Red Wings, the following prospects are just below them. And we'll stay in Sweden to talk about another Swedish winger, it's Jonatan Berggren. A quick heads up, in the clips, he's the one wearing number 48. He was drafted in the second round in 2018 and had some injury problems following that draft, but this past season he got to stay healthy and put up an incredible season. 45 points in 49 games, tied for 6th best in the league and the second most assists in the entire SHL. And that season he just had puts him 10th best all time in SHL history for points by under 21 players. So a pretty good season in other words. He's a terrific playmaker, his IQ and footwork is incredible, and while his shot isn't on the same level as his playmaking, he can still score some pretty sweet goals, but I wouldn't expect him to score 40 goals should he make the NHL. And that's the question, will he make it to the NHL? Well, I'm talking about him here, so yes, he will. I can definitely see top 6 potential in him, and while the Wings haven't signed him yet as I'm making this video, I don't think he should be in the NHL by next season anyway. Give him another season in the SHL to get stronger and just develop his game, and he should be ready in a year or two. And if he does get signed, you play him in the AHL. For our next player, we'll be staying in Sweden. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules here, the Red Wings just seem to have all their best prospects in the SHL, but it's time to talk about a defenseman, and it's the second round pick from 2019, Albert Johansson. So Albert Johansson had a good season in the SHL, he improved on his points from the previous season and has naturally progressed and developed over the season, and he's been rewarded with a spot on Team Sweden's roster for the upcoming World Championship. Johansson definitely has the potential to be an impactful player on the Red Wings in the future. I'd say give it a year or two and he's on the roster and on his way to fulfilling that top 4 potential he's got. Definitely a player to look forward to. I also want to quickly touch on the latest draft pickup from the Wings. It's another Swede, but hey, they love their Swedes in Detroit, and it's another defenseman, it's William Wallinder. Wallinder was picked up in the 2020 draft in the second round, and despite his size at 6'4", what stands out about him is his skating and footwork. He's incredibly smooth and a pleasure to watch in that sense. He's really good with the puck on his stick, and combined with his skating, he's a great tool to have going forward in the transition game. Though he needs to work on his shot a bit and his overall defensive game needs improvement, there's no denying that Wallinder is very, very talented. But it's going to take a few years before we see him in a Wings jersey. But just like Johansson, he's got that top 4 potential. So with that said, there's still some top class prospects that I haven't talked about yet, like Joe Veleno, Jeremy Kaisak, Elmer Soderblom and Theodor Niederbach. And then you have Filip Sedina and Michael Rasmussen, who are still young and have already made their NHL debuts. But I wanted to focus on the draft and what the Red Wings can do at the draft and who they should draft. So even though the Red Wings finished 5th last, they'll only have the 6th best odds in the draft thanks to Seattle having the 3rd best odds. But even if the Red Wings were to stay at 6, they can still get themselves a nice skater or a goalie. Yeah, a goalie. The Wings have some decent goaltending prospects and goaltenders are so hard to predict, but Jesper Wallstedt is one of the best goaltending prospects in the past few years. It's always risky drafting a goalie that early because he probably won't have the same immediate impact as a regular skater would, but Iceman drafted Vasilevsky, so he could take a punt on Wallstedt. If Detroit win the lottery and get to pick first, they should look to draft Owen Power solely because of his name. Jokes aside, Power is the complete package, a real powerhouse of a defenseman. But unfortunately for the Red Wings, given their lottery luck, I think he'll be out of reach for Detroit. The dream selection for forwards is Matthew Beniers, point per game in the NCAA, a real top talent and probably the best center in the draft. I think him centering a line with Lucas Raymond in the future is something Red Wings fans probably won't say no to. He'll probably go 2nd or 3rd overall, so again, some luck needed there. For more realistic options, you have Kent Johnson, William Eklund and Dylan Gunther, all very skilled forwards that can definitely have an impact on the Wings in the future. I think the Red Wings should aim to draft a forward unless they can take Owen Power, because to me, they're pretty stacked on the defensive side and another blue chip forward prospect would sit very nicely. Regardless of what happens, I trust Steve Yzerman to do what's right. A lot of us, me included, turned our heads when he selected Moritz Seider at 6, but look how incredible he looks now, and I think it's fair to say that no one will question whatever Yzerman does at the draft. Maybe he takes a crazy Moritz Seider-esque punt on someone like Fabian Lysell, who's been jojoing in the rankings. Or if he feels even more brave, Finnish forward Ado Radi, who a year ago was top 5 in almost every ranking. But anyways, the future is very bright for Detroit. I know it might be tough now, you've had a few miserable seasons and some terrible draft luck, but I don't think it'll be long until the Red Wings will be one of the most exciting teams in the league. A complete 180 from what they are today. So, what do you guys think? Who's your favorite prospect and who would you like at the draft? Talk to me in the comments and I will see you in the next one.